Welcome, fifth grade percussionists, to another percussion lesson. We're going to be learning today about how to hold your mallets and how to play your first few notes on the bell kit. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take out your mallets first. So take them out of the bag that your percussion kit came in and grab those mallets. And I'm going to get a little closer to the camera here and show you how you're going to hold these sticks, okay? You might not be able to see my face, but it's really important. I want you to be able to see my hands and what they're doing, okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is when you get your stick, okay, I want you to take it and put it in your hand, any way that you feel comfortable. Once you have it in your hands, I want you to kind of stick your thumbs up a little bit like that. Okay, right on the stick. Place it right on the stick so you feel really good, okay? I don't want them tucked into your hands. I don't want them like to the sides. I want them right on the stick to give you a good grip and a good support system there. So the next thing you're going to do, after you get your thumbs out like this, what you're going to do is you're going to place the rest of your fingers. Now to place the rest of your fingers, you can see my thumb in the back there is still kind of pointing out, like I said. You're going to place the stick in between the first and second knuckles. Okay, so if you see you have your first knuckles up here towards your fingernails, and the second knuckles are back here. So what I do is I put my thumb out, like I said, and then one at a time, I kind of go like, and I wrap my hand around and get a really nice firm grip. I do that with both of my mallets. And you'll notice that when I grip my sticks, my pointer fingers are right around the stick. Some beginning percussionists will try to do the point, as I call it, where they're pointing at me. I don't want you pointing at me. I want you to be able to get a good, solid grip. If I came over to you and I kind of tried to pull it out of your hand, I shouldn't be able to. If your grip is so loose that it'll just come right out of your hand, then you're not gripping the stick firmly enough. The end of the stick should rest comfortably in your palm or just maybe a little bit sticking out, but you don't want like the whole stick sticking out. For me, I'm really comfortable down here. I would say if you're going to have a little of the stick sticking out, no more than that much, okay? Now, let's talk about how you're going to place your hands when you go to play. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is I want you to get into a triangle pose. I call it a triangle pose because your body and the mallets are going to form a triangle when you go to play the bell set. So the two mallets are the sides of the triangle, okay? And then your body becomes the base of the triangle. And this will give you a good system, no matter where you are, to kind of get the mallets able to be played, all right? Now, your hands are going to be placed so that the top of your hand is facing up. A really common mistake with beginning percussionists is they're going to have their wrists like this because they think they should be playing drums or mallets like this. Well, that might seem a little bit more comfortable or a little bit more normal. That's not proper technique. What we want to do, because it's not proper technique because you can develop some wrist injuries that way. We don't want that to happen to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your backs of your hands up towards the sky. And the way I kind of think of it is you should be able to rest like a quarter on top of your hands when you go to play. So if your hands are like this and you try to put the quarter on, it's going to fall right off into the floor. Okay? And before we play any notes, what I want you to do is I want you to practice just kind of your wrists going up and down like this. And I kind of think of it, percussion can be very robotic at times. So I always think when one mallet goes up, the other comes down, kind of like this. So before you even play a note, you might want to just kind of practice, not even looking down at the keys, just kind of going right, left, right, left, right, left. That way you can have a good technique before you start playing. Okay, I don't want to underemphasize that enough. It's important to have great technique when you go to play a percussion instrument, whether it's mallets, bells, whatever you're doing. Technique is so super important to what you're doing. Okay, now let's just talk a little bit about the keyboard first before I start to show you some of the notes. Now, some of you are going to be lucky enough to have keys with all the notes on them like this, okay? This is actually makes things a little bit more difficult for you, believe it or not, later on. Because later on, when you get to be an older percussionist, your bell kits your mallet instruments aren't going to have the note names, all right? So if you start using the note names on your bells as a little bit of a crutch, you might have a little bit of trouble. So you might want to take like a little small piece of like masking tape or something like that and just cover the note names so that you don't have to rely on them, okay? Now, if you're thinking, well, Mr.Klopchin, if the note names are covered, how am I going to know what note is played or what note I'm playing? So that is pretty simple. I'll show you right here. If anybody out there in percussion world plays piano, the keyboard is set up exactly like a piano, okay? So we've got all of our our sharp and flat notes up on the second row up here, and we've got all of our naturals down here on the bottom, all right? And the easiest way to find out what notes are what is by looking up at the top row of sharps and flats. So you see we have little groupings of 3 keys and 2 keys, 3 keys, 2 keys, 3 keys. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to find the first set of 2 keys up top right here, all right? Once you find your first set of 2, what you're going to do, or it could be any set of 2 either. So if you're more comfortable looking at this one up here, that's fine. But our first note we're actually going to play is down a little bit lower. So take a look down here, set of 2 keys. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the one closer to the bottom of the keys. So in other words, the way the keys are getting larger. Okay, so this one's closer to the larger side of the bell kit. So what you're going to do is you're going to go directly down from there. Okay, so watch that one more time. That was a little confusing. So I'm going to go directly down right there, and find the key that is right there. That is called C. Now, what's nice about the keyboard, it's laid out very, very easy, meaning that it goes in alphabetical order, A through G. So if you have C here, then you have D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all the way up. Okay, so you find your C, and that's what you're going to base everything off of, finding C. Once you find C, you're all set to go. So now let's talk about how we're actually going to strike the keys when we play. Give me a minute. I'm going to grab my mallets one more time. Okay, so we're getting in our good triangle position. Backs of our hands are up towards the ceiling. And when we strike a key, our wrist goes down like we were doing before, kind of like the robotic thing. And what you're going to do is you're going to strike that key, but you're not going to do what I call a dead hit. You're not going to leave the mallet right on the key. You're going to kind of lift off a little bit, just like that. Okay. And the first couple of notes we're going to deal with here today are D, E flat, and F. So again, you might have to go back and rewind a little bit and figure out how to find that C. So I'll give you a second to do that now. Find that C. Okay. If you need to rewind, go back. It's okay. Come back. All right. So you found that C. Now I want you to go up one note on the bottom row of keys to the D. And you're going to strike that key and lift off a little bit like that. Remember, no dead hits like this. Okay. The next note we're going to talk about is 2 up from that, F. Okay. So if you're on D, you want to think D, E, F if you go alphabetically. There's your F. Now, the last note we're going to talk about for your first 3 notes here, percussionists, is E flat. So this one can be a little tricky to find, but I'm going to run you through it, okay? So you found your D, you found your F. In between the D and the F, we have E. Now, you notice I said E flat. E and E flat are 2 different notes. We're not even going to talk about E right now. We're just going to find the E flat. Okay, so you found your D. And there's 2 different ways you can do it. All right, so here's my D right here that we're talking about. And then here's the F that we were playing. Here's the E in between. But that's just E, like I said. We're going to kind of come up here on the top row, and that's E flat. So it's the key that's in between the D and the E flat up here. And those are the first 3 notes we're going to start talking about in your lessons. So please familiarize yourself with these notes. And while you're at it, you can have a lot of fun with this. It's not like any of the other instruments where they have to learn new fingerings and learn new notes and how to play them. As long as you guys have a good stick grip, you can play any note on your keyboard. So have fun, experiment, figure out songs if you want. But we will be starting with D, E flat, and F when we see you in a lesson. Have a great day.